Welcome, friends. I'm so excited to be back live on the channel. Oh my goodness, it's been an absolutely bonkers year. And this year is the year that we are just doubling down on media. And we want to take a lot of the revenue profit that we've made, helping other folks get into college, and basically reinvest it into YouTube so that we can provide more free tips, resources, everything, you name it. I totally empathize with you guys. I mean, I went to private school, Phillips Exeter Academy, one of the best schools, high schools in the world, and then I went to Yale on full financial aid. I was like so broke that these schools literally paid me to go there. They paid for my calculator, for my winter boots, for my flights, for my housing, everything. And I just feel like it's my duty to help you guys out and be that virtual big brother who can provide a lot of free tips and resources. Yes, we do provide like specialized one-on-one coaching, but many of the students that we've helped over the years have gotten into their dream school just by watching so many of our free YouTube videos. So thank you guys so much for being a part of this channel, this journey. Like, I would not make videos if no one was watching, you know what I mean? Because I've already done this process. So you guys only have to apply to college once. I have done it 1,000 times at this point. But yeah, I want to be a resource for you guys and basically answer all the questions you guys might have. I think for the most part, seniors are done applying to college, but if there's juniors or sophomores and you guys want some feedback on your resume, your profile, like how can I look more unique? What projects can I start? What kind of opportunities should I be looking into so that, I have a real shot at getting into one of these top schools? In just a few moments, I'm going to share like this Harvard admissions rubric, which I feel like not a lot of people know about. I myself didn't find it until pretty recently. And I wish that I had seen it when I was applying to college, but it's one of those things that can literally 5 to 10x your odds of getting into whatever program you want to get into. So whether that is, applying to graduate school, transfers, applying to college, things like that. But yeah, it's so great to see you guys here. Wow, we already have 13 people live on the channel. Hello. Hi, Gore-Tex Warrior. If you don't have essays ready yet, that's totally fine. I imagine you're a sophomore or junior, but you guys can send me your resume, your profile, and essays are just one part of the equation. There's a lot of other moving elements, moving parts. But yeah, without further ado, please hit me with your guys' questions. I'm here to help. Small thing, but if you guys want to schedule a free intro call with me, finally I have time after emerging from this like ocean of applications in December and early January. I can schedule a free intro call with you guys. So obviously, unfortunately, I should say, we don't work with every single student who fills out the form on our website. But if your profile is really strong, whether you're low income or scholarship, yeah, we work with students like that as well. We typically don't work with students. We don't give out lots of scholarships during December in the peak of the rush season, but we're more than happy to support really ambitious, high achieving students from now until like September. So yeah, that's the name of the game. Definitely get in touch. Would a Reddit post be okay to send? Yeah, feel free to send your Reddit posts and see your stats, and then I can give you like a chance me. I can tell you how to improve it. That's what this live stream series is all about. I'll be doing it from now until the end of the year. So my job is to be really consistent. How many calls can a scholarship student get? You guys could get like 5 to 10 calls, Zoom sessions completely for free with our team. It just kind of depends on the case and the situation. Thank you guys so much for joining. And yeah, let me know right now in the chat, are you guys a senior? Are you a sophomore, a junior? Have you guys been following the channel for, months, or is this your first time here? I just want to get a better sense of who's here so I can also give better advice based on the audience. All right. Yeah, if you want to send over a transfer essay for me to edit, I can literally edit it like right here, right now, and just drop a link that's like view only in the chat, like a Google Doc link, and I can take a look at it. So we have a junior, we have a senior. Awesome. Thanks for being here, guys. Yeah, kudos to the seniors. You guys have just finished applying. It's like veterans returning back from war. We have some juniors. Awesome. If you're a junior and watching this, like, congrats. You're already way ahead of the curve. All right. Yeah, feel free to send me your stuff, and I will literally share my screen and just start giving free feedback. Before I start doing that, I just wanted to show you guys this other link real quick. Let me see if I can get this share screen to work. I'll just share my window. Okay, yeah, it's working. I think so. All right. So can you guys see this Harvard admissions rubric over here? Let me zoom in so it's a little bit easier to see. I'll also drop the link in the chat. Like, I'm not here to gatekeep. This is from 5 years ago. It's from December 2020. I'll send it over here in the chat. but hopefully you guys can see this. All right, so the number one thing that I really, really want to highlight is a lot of students think that the best thing you can do extracurricular wise is basically climb to the top of the pyramid, right? And you have won national awards. Of course, that helps so much. There's no such thing as too many awards, but if you're aiming for a school like Harvard or Yale, they like to see truly unusual. So if you can see in orange, it says the number of applicants who are truly unusual are 0.3%. So let's say they get 10,000 applications. Truly unusual would be, my math is not so good, I think it's 30. At any rate, 0.3% is how many applicants they get, but 50%, 49.1, I'm rounding to 50, 50% of them get admitted. If you are a 1 across the board, you can truly like 10x, 20x your odds of getting in, right? So your odds normally, if you're an average student applying to Harvard, acceptance rate is 5%. If you are a junior, like don't even worry about rec letters, don't worry about the personal aspect. Personal means essays. Don't even really worry about athletics. Some schools care about athletics like Harvard, but many don't. Really, you should be farming extracurriculars. Like you need to have super duper cool and fresh stories to write about, to talk about. That if you learn anything from this video today, it should be this. So that's part of the reason that I got into Yale, right? Like there's not that many low income Asian American, Chinese American boys who are super interested in Latin American literature and had studied 3 or 4 different modern languages and was a Boy Scout, right? And had traveled abroad to study these languages and is also interested in breakdancing. So you have to really, really lean into that. Now, one of the best ways to stand out, this goes for college admissions, for getting a job, transfers, whatever, you name it, is to combine those crazy, crazy, unique aspects. Fusion. The keyword is fusion. Truly, if you have only watched until this part of the stream, you have learned so much. Let me explain fusion. Like, let's say they want you to tell me about an extracurricular activity, right? There's a Harvard essay that literally says, elaborate on an extracurricular activity, or Stanford. And so to position myself as truly, truly unusual, I would be like, lots of people learn Spanish. Lots of people, or some people do breakdancing. But imagine if I was teaching breakdancing in Spanish, right? Like I am on the street busking for money and I'm performing with some random Spanish breakdance street crew, which, true story, actually happened, right? Now that sounds very, very impressive. But if you think about how much time Kevin actually invested into that activity, it was like I studied abroad and I performed with this random street crew for maybe 5 hours. So it's really just a 5-hour time investment. I was just very strategic about doing really cool stuff so that you have cool stories to write about. Like a lot of the students, they come to me in the summer and the fall, and they're trying to come up with ideas for stories. But the first step is to do really, really cool stuff, right? So that you have cool stuff to write about. All right. I can't actually see your guys' comments, so let me come back to the stream real quick. But that is one of the major points that I really wanted to get across. Let me stop sharing my screen because that is kind of aggressive. All right. I'm going to answer some of the questions in the live stream over here. My son was deferred. Yes, you can definitely send a letter. We have a video on the channel. They're called Letters of Continued Interest. This happened to me as well. I was deferred from Princeton. I sent one of these letters of continued interest to Princeton, and you want to, this happens, by the way, if you guys are a senior, you get waitlisted. Juniors, you should pay attention to this too. Basically, a lot of people make this mistake when they send an update letter, and it's just purely related to extracurriculars or academics. But it should be about a third, a third, a third. A third being academics, and not like, hey, I got a bunch of A's, accept me. It should be like, this is the coolest academic project that I've been working on in the past 3 months. It could be, I decided to take a deep dive into the economics of Pokemon cards. It could be, I was at school and I had a Model UN competition and I decided to nerd out on this one particular issue. It could be a mix of academic and extracurricular. You should also write about service updates. And then the most important part is this final third, which should be personal and kind of like family related. So if you're like, oh, for example, my family, during the holidays, we do this giant Christmas hot pot, seafood hot pot. And I'm like, hey, I was the one out in the sea. I fished the literal fish. I brought it home. I cleaned it. I was exchanging fishermen's tales with my uncle. And that would actually be a really meaningful update to write about in your letter of continued interest or your waitlist letter. And it also makes for actually really great college essays in general. Yeah, send me your guys' essays. But the best way to do it is to put a link in the chat. Don't worry if like someone, you can just make it a view only link and then delete the link after the stream. But I really want to like workshop your guys' materials. Send me your profile, send me your stats, everything, and I can start giving you free advice on how to improve it. If no one sends anything, I'll just show an old student who was accepted. I've been following you since last year. You to go. Thanks, Nate. Appreciate it. I'm 1 year here. I'm in Cameroon. I need a scholarship to a medical college. I'm not sure what the process is for getting a scholarship in a medical college in Cameroon is. I guess you mean in the US, but I would look at the programs that offer aid for international students. Okay, actually, this is a really good example. Okay, we have Yeet Plays 320, who's a freshman at a magnet high school, member of robotics team and TSA. I think TSA is, it's not like the Transportation Security Agency, right? This is like Technology Students Association. Self-studying calculus, 4.0, unweighted. Am I doing well? All right, this is really, really important. I want to break this down for you guys because there's so many students just like this. Let me see if I can like create a document and show you. Right now you're at like level, I would say you're actually, let me show the rubric again. If you see the rubric, you're kind of around like a 2 or 3. And I'll show you how to upgrade to like really, really the top level. 1 second, let me see if I can share my screen again. Thanks for bearing with me, guys. It's been a while since I did a live stream. I'm a little bit rusty. Okay, so yes, here's the rubric. The student is involved in some clubs. They're probably at a 3, if I'm being completely real. You need an awesome GPA, right? That's obviously going to help, but how can we get to truly unusual? Now, I work with so many Asian STEM kids, and robotics is very, very common. Actually, I can show you guys this cheat sheet for one of the students that we worked with who did robotics. I think you guys should be able to see. I'm not going to hide this from you. All you have to do to get access to this cheat sheet is just go to our website and elevated.school and then enter your email, and then we'll send you the cheat sheet completely for free. Like a pop-up will appear in like 5 seconds, I hope. And then you'll just enter your information, and that's that. There's a pop-up. Yeah, download our free cheat sheet. Just enter your email. That's it. I don't want to like gatekeep for you guys. Again, if you want to schedule a free call with me, I'm very available in January. The form is kind of extensive. It even takes a while to load, but I want to get in touch with you. I want to help you guys. So just filled out this form. Back to the cheat sheet. So we have a student here who's really interested in robotics. And this is our student who got into Yale for robotics. And you'll see exactly how she did it. Now, robotics is really common, but what she did was she really infused robotics with service. And she wrote her whole Common App about, you can see literally what she wrote about here, teaching robotics, also at a magnet school. And yeah, she wrote about teaching robotics. You can see some of the activities. Let's run through some of the activities, actually. These days, one of the biggest things is you need research. There's been a really crazy trend. And this is so important that I might like chop up this part of the video and turn it into a short. I would say about 5 years ago, like there was no research. And whether you're in humanities or STEM, research is now almost become like a requirement. I would say like 30% of kids, according to a former Dartmouth admissions officer, did research 5 to 10 years ago, 30%. These days, it's more like 80%. So this is a huge deal. Biomedical research out of an official professor, UC Irvine. And she got this dude to write a banger rec letter for her. Most Ivies love student council, right? They eat this up. It's like a power club. Student council, debate, model UN, newspaper, do it, be in charge of it. Also, doing stuff for 4 years, huge, huge deal. Now, she clearly has that robotic spike, and she ended up really killing multiple birds with one stone. Like she was really into Girl Scouts, right? And for Girl Scouts, you have to do a service project. Where's Girl Scouts over here? Over here. And she decided to, for her Girl Scout project, expand STEM education by doing this Bot AZ program. Can you guys see? Let me zoom in so it's a little easier to see. And so, yeah, this is what she wrote about. And then the first time she showed up to this crazy like OC rescue mission, like let's take a look at her essay. The hook is crazy. What's a Ching Chong doing here? Samantha spat as she glared at me. Speaking of great essays, this one is incredible. One of the best I've read out of thousands. And so, yeah, she writes about this experience. But yeah, that is how you can kind of push the needle to get closer to a 1 or 2. I would still say like she was closer, like between one and 2, not a true 1. Like crazy unusual would be like you're using robotics and fusing it with linguistics or history or anthropology, or you're building like, you know, NASA robots to Mars. But this is a very classic, good profile. She applied early to Yale, was deferred, wrote one of those follow-up letters, and then got in regular decision. And then actually came back and worked for us this summer, was one of our best interns. A lot of service, you know, schools love service. And even like little pops of flavor like this, one of the best things you guys can do is work a menial job. So she was working as a front desk agent at the Hampton Inn, and she did cheerleading. Like, okay, doing robotics, not crazy unique. Doing cheerleading, not crazy unique. But the fact that you do vice president and Girl Scouts and cheerleading and robotics, yeah, that is a lot more unique, I guess you could say. So I'll stop sharing my screen. I'm a little bit behind on these comments. What's up, Code? What's up, Footy Side? Really interested in video editing. Like, we had a student 1 or 2 years ago who, like, their passion was maps. And so they created all these videos about maps and geography. I would combine your video editing with an intellectual interest. It could be food, it could be history, it could be linguistics, it could be space, it could be anything. Thanks so much. Wow, use the essay service 4 times. I hope it was helpful. A lot of the editors, like, they edit way better than me. That's why we hired them. Let me see some of the other questions here. No ECs that were STEM related. That's okay. If you have some ECs that were more humanities oriented, you can talk about this shift. And again, IVs really like a blend of humanities and STEM. They love it. That's honestly one of the winning secret formulas. Going back to the rubric, that's how you kind of stand out and are more unique. 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, they were like, hey, you need a spike. You need like one area that you're just goated in. These days, it's more like you need two or three. I call it the double-edged spike, double-edged sword. And so you want to combine a STEM and humanities, and that's one of the best ways. If you're like going for Stanford or MIT or CMU, then they'll want more pure STEM. Oh, hey, Zach. Nice to meet you. Okay, fellow Exeter kid, 10-3, 1560 is a good enough upward trend. Yes, it is. What is a very custom tailored question. So the high school we went to, Exeter, has an 11.0 GPA scale. And yeah, I had friends who did really poorly freshman and sophomore year, prep and lower year, but their trend was so good, and they really care more about trend, course rigor, and there's a lot of other components as well, honors and awards. Here's the thing, guys, like when you apply to college, they will compare you to other kids from your same demographic, right? They would never compare Kevin, who went to a prep boarding school, is Chinese American, is low income. They wouldn't compare me to a Chinese American student from Texas or Canada or California. They pretty much only compare me to other broke Asian dudes interested in international relations from the prep boarding school environment. So your job is to stand out amongst your pool. Like, I can show you something. Let me show you this actually really quick. But if we go to the Princeton admissions team, you will see that there's different admissions officers who are responsible for different regions. Let me see if I can share my screen. Just give me 1 second. Oh, okay. All right. I'm such a boomer. All right. I'm struggling with the tech. I think I did it. So look, Karen only focuses on New Jersey. Why? Because Princeton actually takes a disproportionate number of students purely from New Jersey. A lot of college admissions is geographic. So Stanford takes the most students from California, Harvard takes the most students from Massachusetts, and so on and so forth. Look, they would never compare someone from Arkansas to someone from Ethiopia or New Jersey. It's like literally a different person. You'll see that this is an entire region. Like, these are quite, statistically speaking, some of the poorer states with fewer students. Similarly here, this guy, California is so big that he only focuses on certain regions in California, right? So that's how the game works. They're never going to compare you to someone, to even someone of a different major, ethnicity, socioeconomic background, and so on and so forth. Let me take a look at some of the more recent comments. Okay, there's a lot. The chat's going off. Oh, the links get deleted. Oh, all right, that's my bad. I think that next time I'll create a form, and then you guys can send over your materials, and then I can share my screen and review them next time. But let me see what other questions you guys have. But the main idea here, again, is trying to get to that truly unusual spike. And if you're a junior as well, the other thing you guys should be thinking about are rec letters. Or let's say college admissions doesn't go crazy well. You guys want to hedge your bets. Listen to this, seniors. Let's say you get into a good school. Maybe you even get into your dream school. Maybe you get into Columbia or Yale, and then you want to transfer. You really have to think about rec letters. And the rec letters need to say, this is the best student that I've ever worked with. Now, I want to show you guys why don't I show you guys just one of the best rec letters that I've ever seen? Why not? Let me pull it up. It's from an international student actually who got into Stanford. So this is totally my bad. I was not super prepared. I'm going to create a form next time where you guys can upload your essays, upload your profile, and then I'll pick some of the best ones and I can just edit them next week on Sunday. So stay tuned. I'll put a link in the YouTube post, or maybe I'll put a link in the comment section of this video. I'll probably put it in both. And then it'll be like a Google form, something like that, a Google folder, or you guys can just email me or a member of our team. And then I'll take a look at your guys' profile for free on the channel. I can't guarantee that I'll be able to review everyone's profile, but I'll do my best to find the ones that are the most helpful. And we should be able to get through like 2 or 3 next Sunday. All right, so I'm taking a look at some of the comments as well. Let me answer this question and then I'll show you guys the really goated recommendation letter. And let me just pause and get some water. I've been yapping nonstop. If you guys could just throw this live stream a like, leave a really friendly comment, that helps so much with the channel. It's no joke. Give me 1 second. Okay. So we have this question from an international student from Ethiopia. If I'm being completely honest, if you're an international student from a small country, you need national and international awards. I can pretty much price your odds of getting into an Ivy just looking at your top 5 honors and awards and extracurriculars. I'm not even really that interested in the GPA or class rank because it goes without saying that that needs to be like top 5%. I haven't tried the College Vine and Creative Sup's essay services, but so I don't know too much about that. Let me see some other questions. We have quantum biohacks over here. Oh, that was the same question. Okay. Let's take a look at this guy. Harsidika Singh. Hey mates, here's my portfolio. I have 4 patents and 2 research papers. Now that is no joke. Really, really good. Now it sounds like you are a university student looking to transfer. The transfer odds are a little bit rougher, and I don't know what country you're applying from. So those are all details that definitely affect the factors. But 4 patents and 2 research papers would be considered like really, really top 5% extracurriculars. The extracurriculars, in my opinion, matter more than the grades. That being said, like if you don't have a perfect GPA at your current college, it does present a bit of a challenge. You can justify it by explaining a little bit behind why the grades weren't so great. Or maybe you have a teacher who, let's say you didn't do so well in the class, but they can explain why. That makes the GPA a little bit more defensible. Okay, so let me share my screen again and let's take a look at this recommendation letter that is just sensational. The biggest thing when it comes to the recommendation letters, how important are they? First of all, again, on this rubric, the recommendation letters deserve their own category. They are just as important, if not more important, than your academics, than even your own essays. Now, when I got into Yale, I took a look at my Yale admissions file. And even in the Yale admissions file, they wrote more comments about my rec letters than my own essays. And it really was kind of the thing that helped tip the balance. The magic words that you guys want when it comes to the rec letters is so-and-so, name of student, Kevin, right? Kevin is the most blank student I've ever worked with. Or Kevin is the most blank student I've worked with in the past 10, 20 years. Now, what goes in the blank? It doesn't have to be he is the most intelligent student. He is the most hardworking student. And ideally, you want different, recommenders to say different things. One recommender can say Kevin is the most creative synthesizer. That's actually what one of my English teachers said. He's really good at taking lots of opinions from different students and then synthesizing it into one neat, tiny little bow, packaging it and making it easy for folks to understand the theme, the core of the book. So that's what my English teacher said. My math teacher said I was very innovative. And so there's many other right answers though. It could say Kevin is the most diligent student I've ever worked with. Kevin is the most selfless student I've known in the past 10 to 20 years. He is the most humble student. But that is the gold standard. You kind of need those words to appear. Okay, so here's a student from Afghanistan. This student has a crazy story. He was literally captured by the Taliban and escaped. I think he was captured by the Taliban more than once. And he wrote about that in his essays. So when you're a low-income scholarship student and you have a crazy story like that, like please don't be afraid to use it. I myself wrote, obviously I was not captured by the Taliban, but I wrote about like my lowest low in high school, which was actually working in my parents' Chinese restaurant. Maybe you guys have seen that video, maybe not. You guys can take a look later. So this recommendation letter actually, you'll see that he's not even just talking about this student's academic capabilities. He's talking about the kind of background that the student is coming from. Another question I get very often is like, how long should the rec letter be? Ideally, as long as possible. Sometimes we also help edit rec letters or brag sheets. If you're a junior, you will send something called a brag sheet to your teacher, and it's like 5 to 6 pages, and they take this information and then they write a rec letter. Like, don't take this process lightly. The rec letter process basically begins around March or April, and it will last until September or October. If you get into college and you want to transfer, already start thinking about rec letters during your first semester. All right, I'll just slowly skim through here, and I'm not going to read it and insult your intelligence, but you guys can take a look. So he talks a lot about like his comeback, but also all kinds of academic projects outside of the classroom. I'll keep scrolling over here, and you guys can take a look. A lot of like leadership as well, and he's answering dozens of questions, sharing knowledge, and so yeah. It says that this student, he really wants to come to study in the US. And again, in Afghanistan, maybe the student got into Stanford early. They take, I want to say, definitely less than 10 students, maybe less than 5 students a year. Okay, so that is essentially the gist. You know, he has been the most stellar student I've ever taught in the past 8 years. There you go. You need a line like that. So that's the gold standard. Now, that might seem a little bit daunting, but you guys have to remember that you don't need to impress every single teacher at your school, right? You just have to like pick and choose your battles, impress like 2 or 3 teachers and go just ballistic. It's not as hard as you think either. Like a lot of recommendation letters has to do with your relationship, not necessarily your performance. So for me, I got an amazing rec letter from a professor because I would just constantly eat lunch with him. Like I would just be like, yo, what are you doing? Tuesday, lunch? All right, this was great. Next week, same time. And I would just go to like the food carts at Yale by the ice skating rink, and we would get noodles together, and we would talk about Buddhism and his kid and meditating next to waterfalls. And this was a new professor at Yale. So this advice isn't just for juniors, but you know, some of you guys might be in college, about to enter college. I kept hitting up this guy, Dr. Hwan Soo Kim, and he was a new professor. He had just transferred from Duke to Yale. So I kept asking him, and we were just talking. And eventually, when I was applying for this really prestigious master's program, he wrote me like the most goated rec. He was basically like, hey, here's a draft of my letter. Is there anything you want to change? Does it look good? I was like, yeah, actually, you know, we can add a few details here and there. I did some more in my entrepreneurship. Can you talk about this, this, and this? And so you're going to need recommendations no matter what. And this is how you get really great ones. All right, let's take a look at some more of the questions from the team. Yes, you're very, very welcome. Thanks for helping us. Of course, my pleasure. That's what I'm here for. This looks really good. So current senior, ISIF grand winner, Yusufo. Looks really, really good. Yeah, definitely have a chance at top Ivies. MIT in particular has like a really strong connection to ISIF. So this is definitely above the top 5% profile, closer to top 3%. So yeah, I would say your odds of getting in are actually probably higher than getting rejected. Going back to the rubric, you're definitely closer to a 1 across the board. And so your odds of getting in way above 50%. Okay, Meki at UVA. Hey, Jinho. Yeah, awesome. Trying to transfer to Brown. My sister went to UVA. She was the president of the UVA club in New York. She loved it there. This looks really, really good. You definitely have a super strong shot. Yeah, I would price your odds above like 20, 25%. If you're going to try to transfer to Brown, I might just submit applications to like 5 schools. Might as well do like Brown and Yale and Harvard, but you're looking really, really good, especially like a 4.0 perfect. They're not going to, when you're transferring, they don't care so much about what you did in like sophomore year, freshman year. They really just care about what you did in the past 1 or 2 years. Really nice work, guys. Again, the essays are such a huge role. And in your essays, I really encourage you guys to not talk about the extracurriculars that much. I like to tell students, like, write 50% of your essays about extracurriculars, and more than, roughly 50% should be about stuff we cannot find anywhere else in your application. So I had a very similar student to this. I was just working with him this past cycle, and in his essays, we decided to specifically write about him working a menial job, even though he has really great research. Research with Anthropic is super impressive, great. Yeah, these stats look awesome. And so when it comes to the other part of the equation, it's just really making sure that you have top like 5% essays. Okay, What other questions do we have here? Yeah, I have anyone who transferred from Stanford from undergrad. Hmm. It's very much like the same, it's a very, very similar process. This month, I am really going to try to make a transfer guide, everything about the art of transferring. We work with a handful of cases each year, but the students who got into Stanford that we worked with came from a community college and did a lot of like military stuff. Okay, so I may wrap up this stream pretty quick, actually. It's a bit of a busy day, and I'm moving from I'm currently in Brasilia, the capital of Brazil, and I'm moving to Sao Paulo on Wednesday. And my wife is furiously packing in the room behind me, so I may go help her out, show her some love. Again, just throw this video a like if you guys enjoyed it. I'll be back next week, and I am going to drop a link where you guys can upload your profile, upload essays, questions. If I see very common themes, I'll address them. Don't go anywhere. And if you guys can just share the channel with a younger student, a younger friend, that would mean the world to me. And everything I do, it's for you guys. I've already gotten into college. I've helped like 100 kids do it again and again. And I just want to demystify this very scary and daunting process so you guys have more success, and you guys can get into your dream school. And if you don't, it's really not the end of the world. There's a lot of the principles here apply not just to college, but getting a job and living a fulfilling life. Like if you really want to stand out in the marketplace on YouTube, for example, you also need to think about what makes you truly unique and unusual. For me, we found a niche helping more Asian students, but then again, we get a lot of students from like Africa as well, which we help scholarship students. We really focus on essays and storytelling, and everything we do here, guys. The mission of Elevated is like better stories equals better opportunities. The most important story, I really want you guys to pay attention here. The most important story at the end of the day is the one that you guys tell yourself, right? And really thinking about what kind of narrative you want to craft for yourself. Are you an underdog? Are you somebody who was blessed with resources and you want to make the most out of them and help other people, right? That kind of story is going to serve as your North Star and guiding light. And that's what I think about these days after graduating from college. What's my story, and what kind of legacy do I want to leave? Ironically, or funny enough, that's kind of the same question that people ask when they're like, hey, why do you want to come to our school? Why this college? It's all connected. It's all connected. And I just want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for being here, spending a little bit of your Sunday with me. And that's pretty much it for today. I'll catch you at the next one. All right. Thanks so much. Peace.